Small Business and Technology Development Center and my office at Arkansas State. So we help small businesses get started and grow through one-on-one consulting, through market research, through training events. Hmm.
You get a lot of students, like student clients.
Not a lot, probably maybe 10% of what we work with are students, but we work 10 counties here in northeast Arkansas. So if it's a national program that's funded by the Small Business Administration.
Makes sense. What happened? But you're good.
Good afternoon. My name is Gavin Brunson. I am the Vice President of the Black Student Association. I am also a senior here at Lyon College. I am one of the forwards on the Lions men's basketball team, and I will be your moderator tonight. Now I'll introduce our panelists. Tony Brunson, a high school English special education teacher in Bryant. She has a bachelor's of arts in English and a master's in special education. She is the owner of Random Things, which is a true statement to the items that she sells. Her business consists of mainly clothes, vintage, designer, and trendy finds. Laura Miller has a background in business consultation for small businesses. She has also held positions in the areas of economic development, insurance, and banking. She is the director of the Arkansas Small Business and Technology Developmental Center and has been with them for 24 years. Patrick Lynch is the director of career services here at Lyon College. He helps students find career paths and use social media to search for jobs. He also hosts the Career Pathways podcast, which offers career advice for college students and early career professionals. And Isaiah Sweetwine is a point guard on the basketball team. He is in his last year. He is also the owner of Sweetwine Enterprises. His company is a business development and athlete venture constellation firm specializing in helping current and former athletes transition beyond sports, assisting in business development, innovation, and scaling strategies for athletes in launching businesses, securing sponsorships, expanding their professional brands, and transitioning into corporate roles. And now we'll start with the questions. Starting off, we'll start with Laura. How did you get your business started?
Well, I personally don't own a business. My husband does, but I work with the Small Business and Technology Development Center. I've been doing that for about 28 years total. So I work with small business owners and entrepreneurs who want to get their business started, helping them with one-on-one consulting that's all at no cost. Our center works with 10 counties here in northeast Arkansas. We also provide market research to help them look at the feasibility of starting the business, and then we do a lot of training events, online and in person, from everything from starting a business to growing a business.
Thank you. Now, Isaiah, what inspired you to start your business?
For me personally, just being an athlete, I feel like stereotype is that like a lot of athletes don't really know what they're good at outside of their sport. They don't really know what they're good at. And transitioning into life outside of sports could be complicated because you've been dedicating your whole life to your sport. So like getting jobs or finding out you're good in executive roles could be challenging. So for me, I just wanted to start a company where like we help athletes, transition into those spaces confidently.
Thank you. Now, Tony, what made you want to start your business?
Well, I just sort of turned a hobby into my love for thrifting and my love for resale into profit. And so my garage kind of got too full and I had to do something with that. So that's what made me want to start actually selling some of my finds.
Thank you. And Pat, what made you want to start doing what you're doing now?
Oh, God, long question. As far as this is on entrepreneurship, but I was a corporate marketing guy for a long time. 2010, I decided to make a pivot. First, it was because I got the chance to move to Muscatine, Iowa. Anyone who can even find that on a map, bonus points. But it was that time where I said, okay, I'm going to go off and start my own business. Owner of a consulting firm was going to retire. I took it over, ran it for about 8 years, then kind of merged with another firm, and then took that, and after I lived out my contract agreement, went up with a startup. So it was a great experience in terms of having learning everything that you think you know about business, but you really get tested once you're in an entrepreneurial environment.
Okay, thank you, Pat. Let's start with Isaiah and with the big questions. How has your business evolved since its beginning?
So given I'm still an athlete, I mean, it's always still evolving because I'm kind of learning how to transition into executive roles myself. But from the beginning, man, it's just been a little complicated considering, like being in college, the rules now that college athletes have, you could stay in college a long time and keep playing for a long time. I feel like a lot of athletes, cling on to their years of eligibility because, maybe a little part of them is scared to transition into those roles. So from where I started, from now, it's a little bit more challenging considering, it's the gateway to staying in college is a little bit easier for athletes. So kind of getting them to kind of take that jump and be okay with, like, I'm not going to play basketball anymore, so what else am I good at? Or I'm not going to play softball anymore. I'm not going to play volleyball anymore. And so when I started, it was a lot easier, man, than it is now just because of all the hoops that you can jump through to, stay in college and kind of avoid those, real life scenarios.
Now, Tony, you said that you started in your garage and you love the resale. And with AI being such a big thing, how has technology played a big role in your business operations?
Well, I have went from being mostly like in person selling to online. So I mostly sell 90% of my items through eBay online, and eBay tracks it. eBay does a lot of the legwork for me. I still do sourcing. I still, have to photograph and do things like that. But eBay has a whole algorithm that does a lot for me. So it's really changed how I do business and how well it's being done.
Thank you. And Laura, what ways or strategies do you use within your program that helps your business and helping other people grow their businesses?
When we meet with someone that wants to start a business, we're encouraging them to look at the feasibility before they jump right in. A lot of the clients that I work with will start as a side hustle, and it'll grow into a true business. Some of them have worked a whole career, and it will be what they want to do once they retire, and it'll become a true business at that point. Some of our clients will buy a business, and then they're not starting completely from scratch. So we're encouraging people to look at that feasibility. What do they need to do to get that business started and grow? And every one of the clients is different. We run everything from service and manufacturing to retail to technology clients. So everyone, we take a little bit different step in helping them move forward.
Okay, since you got the mic, we're going to piggyback off that. What are some of the biggest challenges you see when people come to you about a business?
The number one challenge is money. Everybody needs money because if we had the money in our back pocket, it'd be real easy just to open those doors and go forward. But the three areas we encourage them to look at are money, how much money you need, what you're going to use it for, how much money can you bring to the project, because nobody's going to loan you 100% of what you need to get a business started. We encourage them to look at the management skills. What skill set do you have to make this business successful? You can learn it, you can buy it, and you can already know it. So what stage are you at, and what do you need to do with the different areas of the business? And the other is the market. You know, you can have all the money to get the business going, you can have the skills, but if you don't have paying customers coming in that door, that business isn't going to last very long. So we want to help them look and make sure that there is a demand for their product and service in the area that they want to do.
Thank you. Pat, we're going to sort of ask you a similar question. You work with a career here at Lyon College, and you see a lot of student entrepreneurs come through. In your role, what do you think is the main thing that you see that holds a lot of students back from pursuing their business?
Here's the thing. Being an entrepreneur is hard. It's a lot of work. And starting out as a side hustle, what that's going to mean is you're going to have to put in evenings, weekends, and you really are going to have to push. And so is it going to take time away from your social life? You bet. But if it's worth it, you're going to do it. That is just something that I've seen. I've invested in a whole bunch of student entrepreneurs. I have Isaiah's book. I got his sweatshirt. I mean, anybody and everybody that has a business, come see me. I'll do everything I can to encourage you and to motivate you. But the thing I see is that there's the ones that really are all in, and when they want to make this thing work, and that's a big difference than the ones who just do it. It's kind of cool. It sounds like, oh, gee, I'm realize how hard it really is to make it happen. But if you want to make it happen, I just gave you the recipe. So follow up. Anytime you need to talk to me, be glad to help.
Okay. Tony, you probably work with customers one-on-one the most out of the panelists, I believe. So what has been the most difficult decision you've had to make with your business? Whether that be customer service, finances, yada, yada, yada.
Well, I don't know if it's a difficult decision, but before I started in education, I was a store manager for 5 years. So customer service is huge. And so that's the ultimate decision, is making sure that you are providing excellent customer service. And online is kind of hard, but making sure that I respond to messages, making sure that I get packages shipped out. That's a big thing. You know, you can go in a brick and mortar, purchase that item right there and have it. Online, you have to wait for it. So like I have a 1 to 2 day shipping time to make sure that my customers get their items quickly. And that's a big thing on my feedback, is they always say, I got it quickly. It was a nice item, that type of thing. So just making sure I continue customer service, whether it's face-to-face or not.
So Suwan, you have a consulting business. How do you handle your clients, especially if you see one that is very enthusiastic about what they want to do, and then there's a shift?
I feel like that happens. I mean, that's every client, man. I feel like, somebody, walks in and they say, hey, I'm really good at this. I want to do this. And then they see the work that it takes to, be really good at something. And I feel like we all have dealt with that at some point in our lives, kind of just being a little discouraged. But I think in business, man, the number one thing is just like consistency. As long as you're just doing something every day, I mean, just something, man. Reach out to one person. I mean, I remember when I first started, it was during COVID, and I just knew what I wanted to do. I just try and connect with athletes every day, man. And like, I didn't measure, how good I was doing or my performance based on how many people were replying back to me, or, how much, my motivation went up, because I know every day is different. And, a bunch of clients walk in the door, and, some days they're not going to be motivated to do what they want to do, but you just have to encourage them that, it's really just all about consistency and, doing something every day. Like I said, reaching out to somebody every day, or, trying to make a sale. If you're a salesperson, if you're a salesman, I know it's really big in real estate, man. Just reach out to somebody, you know what I'm saying? And put in a little bit of work into, the things that you're really passionate about. And I feel like that's kind of just been like my MO, with clients is, just the days you don't want to have a business or run a business, or you don't feel motivated, just do something. And I feel like you stay on that track and you'll be all right.
Okay, to build off of that, how do you build and maintain those strong connections with your clients?
I think from a personal standpoint, just relating to them, I feel like my business is a little different because I'm also actively a student athlete about to transition into the real world. So I kind of have, a little bit of an advantage just because I'm still living it. So I try and see myself in the people that I work with. I know a bunch of times, I'll connect with pro athletes who don't even know what they want to do, man. And these are like 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds even that, have made a lot of money doing what they're doing. And now they're about to retire and they don't really know what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? So kind of just trying to relate to them and see myself in them, because at the same time, they're learning experiences for me too. So, just making it more about making it less about business and more about, personal connections.
Thank you. Now, Laura, how do you use the feedback that you get from your numerous, clients to help you improve your business or job occupation?
Well, our network, it's a national network, is very data driven. So every client that we work with gets surveys. Every time they attend events, they get surveys. When they start a business or get financing or hire people, we collect impact to report back to our legislators. So we are a very data driven organization. So we take that information very seriously, and we read all of the feedback, and we try to incorporate it statewide.
Okay. Just to shoot you with another one, what are some common financial mistakes new business owners should avoid? You said that's one of the main things that people talk about is money. What are some of the mistakes that they should stay away from?
Well, what we see most often is that it always takes more money than you think it's going to take, because things end up costing more than what you estimate, and it's going to take a lot more time. So that's a money issue also. When we work with somebody, we don't do the work for them. We give them some templates and tools and send them out to do their homework. So if they need to put together financial projections to try to figure out how much money they're going to make in the first year or what it's going to cost, if they need to know insurance, I don't want them to pull a number out of the sky. I want them to call an insurance agent and get a realistic quote. So we try to help them with finding realistic information so that their budgeting and their money needs are as realistic as possible.
Okay, thank you. Tony, since you work within eBay and you said you thrift a lot, you see a lot of emerging trends that happen with clothes in different brands. How do you stay on top of those changing and emerging trends to help your business do as best as it can?
Well, I do my homework, which right now is YouTube. But I spend a lot of time watching other resellers, and I see what they're picking up, what's selling. I look at the eBay algorithms, what's trending through there, and also just looking at the fashions that's going on. What are people wearing? What are people searching for? Also, vintage is a big deal, and so looking at through the vintage market, what are they looking for? What are people in search of? So I try to do as much research as I can on brands.
Okay. Pat, how do you point your clients, students in the right direction to start what they want to start?
Start talking. One thing what entrepreneurs are first and foremost are storytellers. So you got an idea, learn how to pitch it. Because one thing you're going to find it being an entrepreneur, like it or not, you have to be a salesperson. You have to sell that idea. So start talking it up. Talk to as many people as you possibly can, and you'll refine and refine and refine. I can't tell you how many different pivots I did in our consulting practice, just based on things that worked, things that flopped, new opportunities that came up. One thing to build on as far as being an entrepreneur is a couple really good pieces of advice that I got. One is that you really have to be comfortable writing the front of the check. or the not excuse me, writing the back of the check rather than the front. What's that mean? That means that you're going to be spending money in order to make money. If you are only comfortable with your name being on the front, that means you're going to be pretty good as an employee, but you may want to think about not being an entrepreneur. Second thing is that cash is king. Cash is everything. And, I always joke, I started being an entrepreneur and I had a full head of jet black hair, and look at me now. But, it's one that, when you're there and you're sweating trying to make payroll, trying to pay off vendors, all of that stuff is real. And you may think, oh gosh, I'm going to get into this and be Elon Musk rich. Could happen, but a lot of it is just all the benefits you really get in being an entrepreneur. You get it's a different lifestyle, it's freedom, and ask Isaiah that when you earn that dollar and that dollar is yours, whoa, that's a whole different thing, in terms of what it's like. And that's really what being an entrepreneur is be a storyteller and then just really get sound in the business fundamentals.
Thank you. So, Isaiah, what key factors have contributed to your business success?
I would say patience, definitely just being young and, having social media. You see the Elon Musk of the world and you see all the new cars that are coming out and all the nicest things coming out, and you want to make the money to go have that nice lifestyle. But I just learned in business that it's not really realistic as much, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's been one of my main motivations, is just understanding that I've done all this stuff, but I'm about to turn 23 in March, and that's not old, and just being okay with making the mistakes, just throughout my life, and understanding that it's not going to all come as fast as I wanted to come, or it's not going to come as fast as social media, paints it out to be. A lot of people are making money at young ages, and you just want to get in the business. If you're in the business just to make the money, then, man, you're in the business for the wrong reason, because, the realistic part of it is that it doesn't come that way, and it comes with a lot of, hardship before you even get to that point. So for me, that's just been what it is.
Okay. Laura, can you take us through a quick step-by-step on how you do strategic planning for people who come up to you with a business idea?
As far as walking them through the steps of starting their business? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
A lot of them will come in and they have an idea, but they have not done anything. So we'll talk through their idea. We'll give them the business plan outline, some other resources, and I'll send them on their way to do homework. They've got to, if they're not willing to put in the time to find the answers to the questions that we have, they're probably not going to get very far in the startup process. Usually then they'll come back and we kind of map out a little bit of a plan. Things when you're starting a business are all over the place. It's not really a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 step process. But some of the things they've got to look early is, again, that market, making sure that there's a need in the area that they want to do for that product or service. Going through looking at market research. We've got a lot of great market research databases that we have access to that will give demographic and expenditure information and market potential, industry information, industry benchmarks. So if somebody comes in and says, I'm going to open a dog grooming business and I'm going to do $500,000 the first year because I'm going to work on all the doodles, well, let's look and see what pet grooming businesses really make on an annual basis, and they usually find it's probably more in their neighborhood of 100 to 200,000. So we start setting those realistic expectations for what they're going to be finding as they start that business. Once they get some of those basics in, then we start going through, what all do you need to do? License, permits, insurance. There's a lot of licenses and permits out there that you need. Getting an accountant. I don't give tax advice. I don't give legal advice. So getting them to find professionals to be on their team, getting them out and kind of coaching them how to talk to a lender. Most of the people I work with need a loan. They don't have enough money to start the business. So when you go and talk to a loan officer, what things should you say and not say? You know, some of it's really common sense that we're working through. For example, if they're going to start a business, a lot of them will put in their business plan, well, if the business fails, I'm going to sell the assets of the business. Don't give any kind of inclination that you might fail at this business. So it's keeping positive, you know, doing those red flags and just coming up with a plan that way.
Okay. So Laura, do you have any like come up stories or stories that you've worked with through your clients that really stood out to you?
Can I tell you my craziest one that I've had?
Go ahead.
Okay. It was my very first day as a consultant, and I was in Pittsburgh, Kansas. And the very first client that I had came in, and if you know anything about Kansas, it's a big wheat state, so there's a lot of farming. What he wanted to do was build a tractor out of gold, and he was going to travel from Texas up through Oklahoma, up through Kansas, on up through Nebraska, harvesting wheat. And so we started talking through this, because you've got to respect their bravery to come in and talk to somebody about their idea. And so you can't really laugh about what they're wanting to do, because who am I to say that something's going to work or not work? So we start talking through, you know, gold is a soft metal. How are the gears in the tractor going to work? Where are you going to get the money for this? How are you going to transport it? And he was convinced that he was going to start this business with a tractor out of gold, harvesting, and he was going to feed the poor. So when we got to the point of asking how you're going to pay for it, he said, I'm going to sing. And he started singing during our consulting session. And he really couldn't carry a tune. So I sent him home with his homework to figure out, you know, what are the costs going to be? How much gold is it going to take? How much is that going to cost you? Well, he never came back. But that was my introduction to business consulting.
Okay. Zay, what's one thing you wish you knew before starting your business?
I'm not gonna lie. I just wish I knew that it's really hard. I mean, and I don't say that to discourage anybody who wants to start a business one day, but I always thought it was just start a business and people are gonna come to you, and you know, like you weren't gonna really have to be as much of a salesperson. I know really early on for me, I didn't really talk a lot, so I hated the idea of having to sell something. You know, like I just thought you're gonna need this or you're gonna come to me, when that's really not how it works. Because, you know, in every sector of business, there's a lot of different options. You know, when you decide what you want to eat every day, there's not just one place, you know, and so you kind of have to have a selling point. And I know for me early on, that was a big challenge. So what I wish I knew early on was, you know, how dedicated you do have to be, because I'm at this point now where I run the business, I'm the CEO of a business, and now I got to hire other people because I can't do everything, you know, and just, I didn't know that before I started. I didn't know how much ground you had to cover and how much ground you had to make up for, you know, just how intricate it is, especially being a young business owner. So.
Okay. Tony, I'll ask you the same question. What is one thing you wish you knew before starting your business?
I think the business side, you know, the paying for gas when you're sourcing, making sure that, you know, if you have a storage unit, that's something that can be tax deductible, that part of it. I wish that I knew when I first started. I know it now, so it's better. But knowing that some of the running around and some of the things that I was covering myself, I could have kind of made up for later on in the year. So that tax portion of it.
Okay. Pat, since you've worked with a numerous amount of people as well, I asked you the same question I asked Laura. Do you have any like strange, crazy stories that students or your clients have come up to you and talking about pitching an idea or business?
Not to the level of the gold-plated tractor, you know, kind of Fort Knox a lot or whatever. But you know that. But yeah, I've had people just that will network with me, and they'll talk about all of this. So it's not necessarily the craziest, but the things that what I see is that it's just not a unique idea. So that's going to be tough to make a real good market. It's not it's an idea that hasn't been researched, and they have no idea just how big a demand. And when they find out about it, it's really small, especially if they got like a niche idea of some sort. So then it's tough. Also, just find that they have an unrealistic idea about how much money they really are going to make on this. Because spoiler alert, when you're an entrepreneur, you get paid last if you're a good one, and all of a sudden now, especially I came from corporate life. I saw my paycheck shrink a whole bunch, but it was good. I achieved a whole bunch of other things as far as freedom, a sense of accomplishment that I wouldn't have received had I just stayed in the corporate world. But those are the things you just really have to get used to. Probably the last thing is just you end up, I'll call it like being like the Home Depot of entrepreneurs, and you have to do a lot of DIY and do it yourself, because you can pay someone, but think about it. Every time you're paying someone, where's that check coming from? Your bank account. So you start learning real quick that, oh man, I'm going to have to learn how to do payroll. I'm going to have to learn how to budget. I'm going to have to learn how to do digital marketing, and all those things, put you to the test. But I'll tell you, when you start accomplishing all those, man, is the payoff great.
Okay. Oh, so going off script here, out of questions. Zay, you're a young business owner, and we've gone through what your business does, how it works, what you wish you knew, or whatever. Do you believe that, like you said, you being a CEO, you're still learning every day? Like, there's not a day where you're like, oh, I found this out?
Yeah, of course. I mean, like I said earlier, just I'm still in this space of where I'm transitioning into the real world. So, I mean, immense learning every day, man. I mean, I'm talking to people who, sometimes in my position, I feel like what I deal with a lot is I'm talking to people who have been where I've wanted to go. I'm talking to pro athletes. I'm talking to people who've made millions of dollars playing their sport and have the ability to invest millions of dollars into what they want to do, And so for me, I just think that I'm learning even as a CEO. I mean, typically the title of CEO, you probably think, this is a guy I want to talk to because he knows everything. That's not true, and you come to me and I'd still pick up on stuff that you're trying to teach me simply because of the fact that I'm in this space, still, as a lot of my clients are, so.
Okay. So Laura, what do you see in most businesses that's come through you that's made them continue to stay relevant and continue to prosper in what they're doing?
A lot of it's just flexibility, keeping up with the trends, being able to change direction when they need to. New competitors pop up all the time, and being able to react to that. It's just that flexibility.
Okay. So Pat, I'm in your Principles of Marketing class, and to piggyback off what she said, we just talked about bigger fish, little pond. Can you elaborate on that idea a little bit?
Allow me to get emotional for a second that Gavin actually remembered something I talked about in lecture. So it's like, by the way, how'd you do on the Taylor Swift case study today?
100%.
All right, there you go. There's three ways you can go to market. You can go head to head. Okay, it's mano a mano, full combat. I'm going to beat whoever it is that's in that market. I'm going to take your lunch money. Okay, if you have the resources, you got the brand, you have the idea, go for it. Another one is that you create a whole new game. It's something nobody's seen. It's a new app that hasn't been tried before. You can go in go and create this thing, and you got to spend a lot of money educating people on what this is. Think about Uber, or or Airbnb. That was a whole new game, and so they had to spend a lot of time and money making sure that works. What Gavin's mentioning as far as big fish, little pond, is okay. Instead of going mano a mano, head to head against competition, find find a smaller segment. Find something where you can talk to those people. They're going to fall in love with your product and really own them, and keep out of the way of all the big guys. Let the big brands battle, well, and you're going to take that one small slice, which they're going to overlook because they're looking at, a whole bunch of other things. And that's a great way to make an entrepreneurial start, is to just find that niche and then go for it.
Okay. Tony, your husband is out in the crowd right now, there in the back. What would you say is the importance of having a strong foundation and support like you have?
I think it's everything. You've been with us when we go on the trip. He knows I want to go thrifting. Wherever we go, I'm stopping at a Goodwill. I'm stopping at a little thrift store. And so he's pulling on the side of the road, or he's, making it quick right. So he's very supportive. He knows I get up at 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm listening, or I'm responding to messages or whatever. And he just kind of rolls over, but he knows that's what I'm doing. So it's important to have some kind of support system, not only to just cheer you on, but also you may need them to be on the payroll without getting paid sometime as well.
Okay. Zay, do you have any other big ideas for your business? Anything that you want to implement?
Nothing specific. I think every day is just a learning opportunity for me. So I kind of just want to just keep being in those rooms where, there's a lot of money, a lot of power, a lot of big decision makers in those rooms, and kind of just establishing, my credibility. I think is the biggest thing. Just being 22 and just accepting that I belong in those rooms and that I do have the, the power and the confidence to be in those rooms and talk confidently, and get clients at the end of the day. So nothing specifically, man. Just kind of just growing every day.
Okay. I think we're good. I'm going to open the floor to any questions for y'all. Do y'all have any questions?
Miss Tony, do you do sell for other people? Like if they have items they want to get out there, but maybe not know how to push things, do you have a way for people to send you their things that they would like for you to sell?
Yes, I have done consignment. So I'm actually working with a lady now she has moved to Brazil, and before she left, she had a lot of clothes, and so I've been actually selling hers on consignment since last June or July. So I do some consignment.
So when you do things like that, do you just take a percentage off of it, or do you just is there a fee up front?
Well, it depends. Right now it's a 50-50 consignment. It's either 60-40 or 50-50. Okay. But since she has so much and I'm doing all the listing, all the packing, all the shipping, all the responding, all I do is send her payment each month. So it's a 50-50 with her.
Okay.
I think I have some things I can send you. No.
Next question.
Okay.
This can be directed at anybody up there, but what is your end goal? Like, why did you start what you're doing? What are you trying to get at? And once you get there, what's next? Anybody can answer.
I'll give it a try. 2010, kind of took over a consulting business. So my end goal was to just scale this thing as high as I possibly could. I kind of reached a plateau, And so to achieve kind of what I wanted, what I ended up doing was merging with a firm that's twice my size, and then just kind of helped me go to the next level. It's great, it's champagne days, caviar nights, but the thing was, I ended up merging with two others. It was a husband, wife, and myself, and we were equal partners. Well, you can imagine when a vote came up where I always landed 2-1. So no hard feelings. I ended up kind of learning from that, going into a startup. When you start a business, it's either that I'm going to build this thing and scale it and then sell it. That's great. I'm going to build this thing, keep it, make it a legacy business. Might be something for your kids or whatever. Great. Another one is build this business, and it's kind of a lifestyle business. You're not making like crazy dollars, but you have a pretty darn good life, and that so you can live on your own terms, take as much time as you want, so there's a lot of different things that you can do, as far as owning that business, and they all have those different goals.
I think that's a really good question, mainly because I feel like true business owners don't really have an end goal. You know what I'm saying? You get to a point and you see another point you want to get to, and then you get to that point, and then there's another point you want to get to. But for me, I feel like personally, like where I'm from, a lot of kids either are playing sports or they're just out there trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Because we only know how to play sports. So for me, it was just my motivation was to, and this is bouncing off of Pat a little bit, is living the good life. But what's the good life worth living if you didn't really help a lot of people on the way there? You know what I'm saying? And so when you get there, yeah, you've made a lot of money, but you haven't really impacted anybody. Nobody really knows how to do anything. Your family's struggling. You have some friends that you could help, but you don't. And, is that really the good life? And so for me, getting to that point would be great, having the money, having the successful business. But then after that, what can you look back and really say you've done, as far as impact people or the connections that you have built? I think that's a really good question because, a lot of us sit up here and we want to, and I mean, people in the crowd even, you want to make money doing what you're doing. And at the end of the day, your paycheck's going to come, but then you look back and it's like, what else have I really done? And as a business owner myself, I feel like I get to a point and then I also get to another point. I see 10 people I can help, but then I look back and I see 20 other people I can help, and, you just keep scaling it that way.
I always tell people I've got the best job there is in the world. I kind of fell into the job accidentally as a business consultant. I had moved to Pittsburgh, Kansas with my husband's job, and I needed a job, and there was a job opening, so I applied, and I said, oh, that sounds like fun. So started doing that, and then learned that it's a national program, so anywhere in the United States and U.S. territories we moved, I would have an opportunity to possibly get a job with them. I'm not a risk taker. My husband's had a couple businesses. We had a very well-known pizza franchise, and he's got a service business now. Those weren't my cup of tea. I like knowing that paycheck's coming every week. I like working for a university. That's just my background. But I can live vicariously through all my clients. I can see their successes, and I can be their cheerleader. When they struggle, you can help them figure out what they need to do. And you say businesses don't have an end game. Well, when you get to my age, you're going to need an end game. You're going to need some kind of exit strategy. So we help when you get to 50, 60 years old, you don't want to see that business go away. Can you sell it? Can you pass it to children? What can you bring on business partners? Helping them with the strategies to keep that lifetime of assistance going. That's just something that we can help small businesses do.
How imperative do you feel like taking business classes or having a degree is in making a successful business or maintaining it?
I've seen lots of successful business owners without a degree. I encourage them, if they're on that path, to go ahead and complete that path, but that's not going to be the end-all skills that they're going to have to be a business owner. But it does give them some good foundation, especially from the standpoint you've started something, you complete something, you're not giving up on things, you've got a good basic understanding. Especially in the areas of English and different things, you can really tell a difference in the business owners when they're writing their business plans, the ones that have a degree and the ones that have not gotten a degree. But the ones that have not gotten the degree maybe have some trade skills or something that the ones that have gotten a degree don't have. So it all depends on that person, their personality, and what they're going into.
Can you repeat your question again? I'm sorry.
How imperative do you feel having a business degree or a background in business is in having a successful business or maintaining it?
So for me here, I feel like early on, like my struggle is math. Like the financials in business, I'm not really great with. So to kind of give you like a real world example, I mean, you go into the business world, if you're not really good at math, sure, you can go hire somebody who can look at balance sheets, and that's just another cost for your business. Whereas, if you kind of tighten up your skills in all those areas, you can be the person that's looking at all those things for your business. So for me, that's kind of been my up in the air thing. I never really was good at math, but I wanted to be a business owner. But it's kind of hard to be a business owner if you're not really good at looking at your own financials. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to tighten up my skills in that area. So being 22, I didn't have to go out and hire somebody, and potentially put my business at risk, because everything in business all business isn't good business. All people don't mean well completely, and so just being young, I didn't want to put myself in that position. So I feel like it's really important to kind of have all those skills.
I have to take a crack at this. Stay in school, all right? Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, both college dropouts, both billionaires. Assume you're not Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg, okay? That's one path, but what you learn in school is you're going to learn all the business basics. You're going to learn critical thinking. You're going to just learn how to learn, and all of those things just will help you in whatever business that you want to do, because having lived that life, you get tasked and to kind of come up with everything, because you either you're doing it by yourself or everybody's turning to you to look for an answer and say, okay, what should we do next? And so all this time in school really is going to help. So just stay in school, please.
Thank you.
Yes, and Miss Beretta Robinson has a table in the back. Everybody stop by that before y'all leave out. Thank you for coming.
And we do have door prizes. If you look under your chair in the front, there should be a sticky note. If you are sitting in a chair that has a sticky note under it, we have a $25, $50 gift card for the bookstore upstairs. I know there's 2 on that side and there's 1 over here. And I don't think anybody's sitting in the chairs where they actually are. But can we give our panelists a hand, everybody? Can we give our moderator a hand? All right, thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of your day.